Close your eyes and transport yourself to the streets of East London. The year is 1888. The air is heavy with coal smoke, and the fog, thick as pea soup, obscures your vision. You're in Whitechapel, an area notorious for its overcrowded slums and high crime rates. Picture narrow, labyrinthine alleyways, the cobblestones slick with grime and refuse. The gas lamps do little to pierce the gloom, casting trembling shadows that seem to hold secrets of their own. The buildings huddle close together, their grimy windows like vacant eyes, looking out onto the grim reality of life in the East End. Whitechapel at this time was a melting pot of humanity. The impoverished and the destitute jostled for space amidst the grimy tenements. The district was a cacophony of sights, sounds, and smells. The chatter of street vendors, the cries of ragged children, the stench of unwashed bodies, and the ever-present reek of the nearby slaughterhouses. Here, life was cheap, and death was a frequent visitor. The local populace was no stranger to violence, with petty crimes and brawls being a part of daily existence. The police force was stretched thin, struggling to maintain order amidst the chaos. This was a place where one could disappear without a trace, swallowed whole by the teeming masses. But even in this harsh environment, there was a sense of community. Pubs and gin palaces offered respite from the harsh realities of the streets. The music halls echoed with bawdy songs and laughter, a defiant rebuke to the hardships of life. Yet as the summer of 1888 drew to a close, a chilling wind blew through the streets of Whitechapel. The laughter was silenced, replaced by hushed whispers and fearful glances, for in the shadows unseen, a new kind of terror was taking root. In this gloomy backdrop, a sinister figure emerged, one who would become the most notorious serial killer in history, Jack the Ripper. Amidst the fog and despair, a new terror took hold, Jack the Ripper. This name would soon come to instill fear in the hearts of Londoners, and curiosity in the minds of true crime enthusiasts centuries later. A phantom, a spectre, a nightmarish figure whose identity remains shrouded in the mists of time. But his deeds, as brutal as they were baffling, are etched indelibly into the annals of criminal history. In the latter part of the 19th century, the Ripper skulked through the shadowy lanes of Whitechapel, leaving in his wake a chilling tableau of terror. His victims, known as the Canonical Five, were all women of the night, their lives snuffed out in the most gruesome of manners. Their throats were slashed, their bodies horrifically mutilated, their dignity stripped away in the dead of night. Mary Ann Nichols, Annie Chapman, Elizabeth Stride, Catherine Eddowes, and Mary Jane Kelly, their names echo through the pages of history, a haunting reminder of a predator who prowled the darkened streets. The Ripper's modus operandi was as audacious as it was grotesque. He didn't just kill, he showcased a morbid fascination with the human anatomy, displaying a surgical precision that suggested an unsettling familiarity with the human body. This added a chilling layer to the mystery. Was the Ripper a doctor, a butcher, or someone else with a keen understanding of the body's inner workings? The murders weren't mere acts of violence, they were statements, bold and terrifying, that reverberated through the cobblestone streets of London, across the English Channel and beyond. The audacious nature of these crimes, committed under the cover of darkness and shrouded in mystery, sent shockwaves through society, gripping the city in a stranglehold of fear and intrigue. The murders weren't just brutal, they were audacious, sending shockwaves through London and beyond. This was the birth of a legend, the dawn of an era marked by terror and fascination. This was the rise of Jack the Ripper, the most notorious serial killer in history. Whitechapel, a district of despair and darkness, was the perfect hunting ground for the Ripper. This notorious neighborhood, nestled in the heart of London's East End, was a cesspool of poverty, overcrowded with the desperate and destitute. The Ripper, like a shadowy spectre, prowled these grimy streets, preying on the vulnerable. The geography of Whitechapel played a crucial role in the Ripper's bloody reign. A labyrinth of narrow, winding lanes and back alleys, the district was a ready-made maze for a predator. The Ripper's victims were often found in these secluded spots, far from prying eyes, their bodies bearing the grim signature of his gruesome work. The dimly lit, fog-choked streets of Whitechapel were a cloak for the Ripper. The gas lamps, few and far between, offered little more than pools of weak light, barely piercing the gloom. The Ripper was a master of this darkness, moving unseen, striking with chilling precision, then melting back into the night. In the late 19th century, Whitechapel was a district largely overlooked by the authorities. The police force, woefully understaffed and ill-equipped, struggled to maintain order in this lawless landscape. Many of the officers, themselves from humble backgrounds, had little training in investigative techniques. This lack of effective policing provided the Ripper with the freedom to carry out his heinous acts virtually unchecked. Moreover, the dense population and the transient nature of many of Whitechapel's residents further complicated the task of identifying the killer. With people constantly coming and going, tracking the movements of one particular individual was like searching for a needle in a haystack. The Ripper exploited this chaos, blending in with the masses, his identity hidden in plain sight. Whitechapel, in all its grimy, chaotic glory, was more than just a backdrop to the Ripper's crimes. Its narrow, shadowy lanes, its foggy, dimly lit streets, and its lack of proper policing all combined to create an environment ripe for exploitation. The environment was as much an accomplice in these crimes as the man himself. The Ripper didn't just kill, he taunted, teased, and terrorized an entire city. Jack the Ripper's reign of terror was not confined to the back alleys of Whitechapel. His spectre haunted the minds of London's citizens, and his shadow loomed ominously over the city's collective consciousness. This was due in part to a series of chilling letters allegedly penned by the Ripper himself and sent to the local press and police. Among these, the From Hell letter stands out as a particularly gruesome testament to the Ripper's sadistic nature. Postmarked on October 15, 1888, this letter was accompanied by a small box containing half a preserved human kidney. The writer claimed to have eaten the other half. It was a ghastly claim, one that sent shivers down the spine of a city already gripped by fear. These letters, whether genuine or the work of opportunistic hoaxers, served to fuel the growing media frenzy surrounding the case. Newspapers were filled with lurid details and sensationalized accounts of the Ripper's crimes. Every new letter, every fresh claim, was seized upon with morbid fascination, dissected and discussed in hushed whispers in homes, pubs, and workplaces across the city. The public's fear was palpable, the tension almost tangible. The Ripper had successfully turned London into a city of suspects, where every stranger could be the infamous killer. Trust eroded, replaced with suspicion and paranoia. The streets of Whitechapel, once teeming with life, now seemed to echo with the chilling laughter of an unseen predator. The letters had a profound impact, not just on the investigation, but on the psyche of the city and its people. They served as a constant, chilling reminder of the Ripper's presence, his power, and his perverse pleasure in the fear he instilled. The Ripper had become a media sensation, his terror amplified through the power of print. Who was Jack the Ripper? The question has puzzled investigators and enthusiasts for over a century. Theories abound, each as tantalizing as the next, each offering a possible glimpse into the identity of the most notorious serial killer in history. Let's begin with one of the foremost suspects, Montague John Druitt. A barrister by profession, Druitt was also an assistant schoolmaster in Blackheath, London. His own family suspected him due to his sudden disappearance shortly after the last murder. His body was later found in the Thames, an apparent suicide. Some investigators suggest his guilt was too much to bear, but without concrete evidence, this remains a theory. Then there's Aaron Kosminski, a Polish barber and resident of Whitechapel during the time of the murders. Kosminski was known to have severe mental health issues and was eventually committed to an asylum. The intrigue around Kosminski heightened when DNA evidence on a shawl supposedly found at one of the murder scenes was reported to match his descendants. However, the validity of this evidence is hotly disputed, leaving Kosminski as another tantalizing yet unproven suspect. Walter Sickert, a prominent painter, is another name often thrown into the Ripper's guessing game. American crime novelist Patricia Cornwell made Sickert a household name in Ripperology, alleging that his dark and disturbing paintings were a form of confession. She even went as far as purchasing some of Sickert's artwork to conduct DNA testing. Yet the results were inconclusive, and many experts dismissed this theory as mere speculation. These are but a few of the many suspects in the Jack the Ripper case. Others include a royal physician, a reputed gang of butchers, even a scorned woman seeking revenge. The theories are as numerous as they are diverse, encompassing every stratum of Victorian society, from the lowest depths of Whitechapel to the highest echelons of the royal court. What is clear, however, is that Jack the Ripper was no ordinary criminal. He was cunning, elusive, and ruthless. He operated under the cover of darkness in a densely populated area teeming with potential witnesses, yet he managed to carry out his gruesome deeds without detection, leaving behind a trail of fear and unanswered questions. Despite the passage of over a century, the allure of the Ripper's mystery remains undiminished. The gaps in the narrative, the lack of definitive evidence, the endless list of suspects, all contribute to an enigma that continues to captivate the world. Despite the many theories, the identity of Jack the Ripper remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in criminal history. The shadow of Jack the Ripper still looms large over the annals of true crime. His reign of terror, brief though it was, left an indelible mark on society. The Ripper case not only horrified the world, but also led to significant changes in how crimes were investigated. It was a catalyst for the modernization of policing, with the introduction of forensic science and criminal profiling, while also highlighting the importance of community engagement in solving crimes. Beyond the realm of law and order, the Ripper's gruesome exploits have permeated popular culture. Books, movies, and television series continue to explore the mystery surrounding his identity, keeping the Ripper's legacy alive. His story, shrouded in mystery and darkness, has become a morbid fascination, a spine-chilling tale that captivates audiences worldwide. The Jack the Ripper case, a chilling tale of mystery and murder, continues to intrigue us, a stark reminder of the darkness that can lurk in the heart of a city.